The Biden administration is laser focused on the issues affecting everyday Americans, like how roads are racist. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the new infrastructure bill will address that.
Can you give us the construct of how you will deconstruct the racism that was built into the roadways that you talked to the Griot earlier?
I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or it would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices.
Trees can apparently be racist. Vice President Kamala Harris asking NASA about it.
Can you measure trees? Because part of that data that you're referring to, and it's in EJ, it's environmental justice, but you can also track by race. There are averages in terms of the number of trees in the neighborhood where people live.
Racist, Greg.
Well, I got to say, Mayor Pete looks great. Clearly, he's lost the baby weight. So, this is the problem with the everything is racist prism, because you can apply it to everything. And it's very seductive because it makes the user seem educated and clever when it's merely kind of repeating something that you already heard. He just heard those stories. So he repeats it and it comes out as, wow, this is really interesting. But it's actually not an original thought, but it's an acceptable thought at cocktail parties. The problem is with this, how does his policy or the policy based on this affect the actual outcome? Right. Like, where are you going to change the bridges or the streets? What if the changes are actually really good for everybody? Like, what if the improvements on this racist, bridge actually is beneficial? Why did you have to bring this up? But if you don't have a specific solution for this, but you brought it up anyway, then it's a pretty obvious virtue signal to appear thoughtful and progressive and woke. But I'm interested to see when this is all done, where they're going to point to and go, see, this was the bridge I was talking about.
Cross Bronx Expressway, I could point to it.
So what are you going to do with it?
The question is, you don't use this money for social engineering. I mean, that's the problem. Mm-hmm. That's what's disappointing to me. Eisenhower's interstate system was the grandest, greatest public works project that was since the Erie Canal. It opened up America for everybody. It benefited everybody, rich people, poor people, black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people. Everybody benefited. If we start with Pete Buttigieg leading the way to point at these projects, like to change the bridge over the Cross Bronx Expressway, which works fine now, people have adjusted. Instead of building new bridges or repairing the bridges that exist and tunnels and roadways and making Wi-Fi available for everybody, and it's going to be in the hands of the same racially oriented politicians that we used to call poverty pimps when I was the lawyer for the Young Lords. Poverty pimps. They work, they jockey these programs, they find out what's happening. If you make this a social program, a social welfare program, which is what Build Back Better is supposed to be. But if you make infrastructure, social welfare, what you're going to get is nothing. At the end of the line, you're going to have that money squandered.
I have a theory about why Buttigieg would be talking about this now, but it's to Greg's point. Anytime you talk about racism and call someone or a group of people racist, you're trying to get them scared and to back off and to kind of butt out. And so, Dana, I wonder, to Geraldo's point, it's because they want power and control over that money and they don't want anybody to ask any questions. It's not going to get built on taking down overpasses. It's going to get built on things that aren't roads and bridges and actual infrastructure.
Well, also it says it's $1 billion to remedy. So what's the remedy, right? And that could also be said about the tree issue and tree equity. I understand what you're saying. Like, more trees in a place is a good thing. And if you look at a place like, I believe it's Greenville, South Carolina, 25 years ago, there was this big push to put trees down the main street, and there was a big controversy. It was going to cost too much money. Now it's lovely because the trees are built and the trees have grown up. It's shady. It's a beautiful street to shop along. It benefits everyone. And I think that what the voters were saying last Tuesday is that we can support things that support everybody, but we don't want to be put in these different categories. We might need to right some wrongs in the past, but then again, the remedy, as they say here, is going to actually benefit everyone because we don't have that society that like we used to have.
Jesse?
I did a deep dive on this
No,
today.
you didn't.
Deep,
Good.
even
Really?
for me.
Oh, wow.
And what I found out that, yes, race was a factor in some of the design of the interstate highway system, granted. But class was a much bigger factor. Poor white and black neighborhoods were carved up by this highway system because it's much easier to seize a poor neighborhood through eminent domain. You put the artery into the downtown shopping district and the artery out to the suburbs for the commuters, and that's how it's done. They went into German, Italian, Jewish neighborhoods, all white people, and they just carved them up. How many times have you heard the phrase, this poor white neighborhood on the wrong side of the tracks? There's always a wrong side of the tracks, and it's not black, it's not white, it's about rich and poor. And that's how they did this. So just because we have to fix a part of the system doesn't mean the system was racist. It just means some of it was designed by idiots. Most of the problems we have in this country are because of idiots, not because of racists. And what these idiots are doing in the Biden administration is they're saying, we're going to start destroying highways, and we're going to replace these highways with mass transit. We don't want mass transit. Mass transit's been on the decline for the last 15 years. We just came out of a pandemic where people are leaving cities. People are working remotely. The last thing we need are more trains and subways and buses. So they're just going to jam this down our throat. And what's going to happen? The big dig. Remember Boston?
Yeah.
They tried to rip up their whole highway system, and it took 25 years.
Yep.
And the cost was 5 times as bad. And it just created more drama and more, I don't know, congestion, which creates more emissions. So you're going to now see a boondoggle a la the big dig in every single city and every single place where this Build Back Better money is going to go. And you're just going to look back and you say, Jesse Waters was right.
And we do that all the
That will come
time.
right to my mind. First out there. Damn, that Jesse was right.
Always right.
Always looking for the opportunity to use the word boondoggle.
Boondoggle. I love billion-dollar boondoggle.
Yes.
Say it with Buttigieg.
It's his.
It's actually.
He looks great, by the way.
Yeah, he really does.
He really has lost that
What a
big weight.
bounce back. Usually it takes months, but
I think he was on the treadmill.
Yeah, he did.
got the one treadmill they couldn't get.
One Peloton.
Yes.
I was about to make a joke, and I am editing myself because it would get me in so much trouble.
It's
Dana
5:21.
Perino, ahead on the 5. Democrats not learning their lesson. They can't stop smearing parents.